Hi green lovers! Today I am going to show you a compost in place video, and it's actually going to be a 3-in-1 because I am going to be setting up a worm bin. I'm going to do a compost in place in this beautiful planter in which I've got several eggplants, and it is going to provide fertilizer ongoing for these eggplants, so I will never have to fertilize them. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you will need when you're setting up a worm compost system of this nature is a bucket. Now I've got a 3-gallon bucket, and as you can see, I have made a lot of holes along the top edge, along the sides, and even on the bottom. And what this is going to do is it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to provide airflow, which is really important when you're composting and especially when you're creating a worm bin. And it is also going to provide an escape mechanism for the worms, so that if the compost starts to overheat or the environment just becomes uncomfortable for them, they've got a way to exit the system. The third thing that the holes are going to do is they're also going to serve as the exit for the fertilizer as it leaches out when I pour water into this worm bin to keep it nice and moist, because that's how the worms like it. So let's go ahead and get started. So now in any worm bin, you always need to have a combination of greens, which is your organic material that is mostly your kitchen scraps. Over here I've got some radish greens, I've got some mango peels and some coffee grinds, etc. I like to chop it up because it helps the decomposition process speed along a little faster. The worms can eat it much more quickly when it's chopped up, but that's an optional step really. I mean, they will get through it even if it's in big chunks. So the second thing that you're going to need is the browns. Now browns can be regular potting soil if you've got it sitting around, leaves. I've got some shredded paper which I've moistened. I've got some peat moss. All of those, any and all of those can be brown raw material for your worms. And of course, the most important ingredient is your little container with worms in it. Now this container, the worms tend to not like the light, and so they burrow down to the bottom, but they're there, trust me. All right, so let's go ahead and get this worm bin set up. So I've made a hole, actually put this bucket in and made a hole so I know it fits, and I'm going to now place this bucket in this hole just like that. Now I've not buried it down completely. I've kept a little of it exposed, just to make sure that there's nice air circulation going on. And into this, I'm going to be putting my greens. So I've got the greens here. I'm going to empty them in here. And next, I'm going to be putting some more browns. I'm going to be putting some wet, moistened newspaper clippings. You may want to make sure you don't use glossy paper, but other than that, any kind of paper that preferably shredded. You don't need a shredder, you can just pinch them into pieces. Cardboard boxes, little pieces, all of that works. And then I'm just going to dump my worms onto this. So you can see them there. Yep, they're there. There are also worms in this planter. When I planted the eggplant, I put some worms in there as well. So the worms are all set here. All you need to do is cover this up and make sure that it's kept moist. Now, every once in a while, I'd say once a week or so, You can probably feed them some kitchen scraps, and yeah, don't overfeed them. Just make sure that they're decomposing the material, and if there's still a lot of the food in there from the previous time, then you don't need to add any more. So that's it. That's your compost in place setup. As you add water to this, that wonderful worm tea is going to leach into the plant system that I've got going here, and the plants are going to grow nice and healthy. Well, that's it for this episode, green lovers. I hope this inspired you to build your own compost in place system with or without worms. And I hope you learned something new. And if you did, and if you liked this video, do consider liking and subscribing to my channel. And until next time, live green and love your greens.